Hi, I'm Pharaoh, and we're going to carry on with this challenge. I feel like we're progressing reasonably well, actually, because if you look at that, it says, oh, hang on, I've got a sound coming out the back here. Let me just stop that. I think I've got the browser on in the background. Always something that I forget to do. Anyway, yeah, I think we're doing reasonably well. I think we've got, considering we're coming up to hour 13, and we're on A. I think we're on track to do this relatively quickly. I think we're going to speed up a little bit at this stage, but we will see. We need to get a lot more, if we look at the rules, we need to get a lot more exosuit slots for the next stage up, but we only have to get a couple of B-class modules for the A stage. And it's only 20 slots, and it's only a few more modules. So I guess the quicker we get into A, change our ship and multi-tool, then the quicker we can get on with it.
Alphas195 says,
Hi Alphas, good to see you. How are you doing? Did you manage to restart it? Right.
Alphas195 says, afternoon Pharaoh.
Yeah, it's afternoon here. I can only presume it's evening there by now. Right, I'm going to check to see.
Axon Ignition says,
Hi Ignition, good to
hello
see you.
everyone.
I want A, and I want really to replace my movement modules, I think, because they're the things that I most enjoy. So I just need to change these to B. And then we can pretty much swap them straight to A, which I think that was one of the criticisms of the rules a little bit. But we'd have to get a multi-tool slot, of course. But there's nothing really stopping that, I don't think.
Alphas195 says, yep, I restarted it, but then I got sidetracked with building a base on a community planet over the weekend.
Fair enough. I hope it was a nice base. I approve. Have I got a B movement? No. I haven't got a B movement here. So I think the best thing for me to do is to literally look everywhere for a B movement.
Says, evening Ignition.
Now I can see you've got a face palm after saying you got sidetracked with a base, but I don't see that as a bad thing at all. Your base is not bases, space stations. So let's go from the bottom and see if we can find a movement module. Just go through these logically one at a time. Hang on, I've not got this thing on my screen. Why have I not got the thing on my screen? I'll just go into the game. That should do us. I think I know why. I think it's because I've got that background on with the Cosmos screen. So discussion question today. I mean, it's probably not going to be a very long discussion, but hold all opinions until later. But the discussion question today will be the emoji, lack of it still. I was half expecting it over Saturday night, Sunday morning, but we didn't really see it. So let me just get rid of this. I need to store it. Oh, I can dismantle it at the moment. So if I get something else, I have to store it and sell it. That's B and B, so I need one more. I'm not really gonna stop myself doing a reload to get another one because I've always felt like Hello Games should just let us buy 3. I just don't get why they don't only let us buy 1. I don't really consider it cheating, like a lot of the other things. Yes, has he forgotten his... Why didn't that come up though? Is that too long? It doesn't look too long a question. Let's put it in medium and see if that changes things. Actually, no, it hasn't come up across my thing either. Alright, I'm going to have to look at my Ninja and see what's going on there. Movement module, there we go.
Alphas195 says, entering lurk mode for a bit.
Okay, maybe chat soon. So now we have one significant... We're not so much looking for the B. Some of these just don't have the letter. So you're just looking for where it says significant upgrade.
AI says, tubers are saying it's coming soon. Whereas industry sources, websites, are saying next month.
I'd like to see what those industry sources are. Have they got any links? We'll talk about it in a bit. We'll talk about it in about an hour at the hour point. But see if you can find any links to industry sources if you feel that way inclined. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one isn't. That one is 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we now have... We go back to our chat. Put the rules back on. And then I'm going to get rid of that background so that it's not confusing things. There we go. So you can see the game if I forget. So we now have the 8 B class modules. And that unlocks the multi-tool starship. So the next stage is to go looking for a decent starship. It doesn't have to be that good because we're probably going to not be on this level for long. And a decent multi-tool. So while we're looking in different systems, let's see if we can find an A-class cabinet. So let's get rid of the rules again and go back to there. It's a lot easier to go from system to system. I mean, one potential thing would be change the rules. Could be that we're not allowed to actually get a multi-tool from a station. But is it just throwing in extra complications for no real reason? So much cooler here today. We're only in the low 20s, so hopefully we'll get a decent session without it getting stupidly hot in this room like it did on Friday. That's nice to see. We might need to kind of make a note of that.
Axel Ignition says, I think getting a mount from the space station should be allowed.
Fair enough. I mean, I do think it's a little bit, it would be a little bit restrictive. So look, it's got this thing where it doesn't show the... I guess this happens to me a lot, especially if I start to hide systems. Right, so which system are we in? There we are. And that's discovered by somebody else, so we can't change. So this is where notes are important. I'll just type it into the chat because we can always go back and look at the chat. So S multi-tool at RIS O Leb. And we can always come back to that.
Axel Ignition says, LOL. That's a legendary player who's discovered this system.
So is that the same only B? That seems odd to see the same multi-tool at B and A. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. The end of Niman's 2. That's unusual. I mean, you do occasionally see an S class also at B class, but to see them both in the same place is very odd. Just very unusual, I guess, more than odd. Okay, so space stations. See, this is a pistol, so it's, I mean, it is A, and I wouldn't necessarily need it for long, so I'm kind of tempted to go for this. What have we got in the... See, we haven't got that much in here. We'd have to get rid of the modules anyway. So we've only got 1,
Axel Ignition says,
2,
beautiful pistol.
3, 4. Not much that we can move. We could move that. Has the pistol got a... Yes, it has. So we want to move that. Did it have a terrain manipulator? No, it doesn't. So we can move that. And we can move the scatter blaster that I didn't even realise we had in there. And everything else, oh, I suppose we can move that if it doesn't have a barrel ionizer. I didn't check, but we can find out. It already has a scatter blaster. Alright, we will ignore the scatter blaster. We'll just swap it, because I think this will just be a relatively temporary thing at this stage. So compare, exchange for Nout. That's one problem with doing this, is that we're going down in value, but we do have 7 million now, so we probably could get some more quite quickly. And there's that 2 slots that are together, so I'm just going to do it and not worry about it. Go for speed at this stage. So the next stop, ship. But obviously, the thing we fell into last time, or was that? That's a solar. The thing we fell into last time was not storing stuff in our bases. So let's go to our freighter. And this is where having an extra container helps, so that I can put everything in that second container. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a bit of a trick. I'm going to go into storage 0. And I'm going to divide everything just to fill up the space. This doesn't take as long as worrying about. It might seem like it's going to, oops, it will take long if I keep pressing the wrong button, but it might seem like it's going to take a while, but this is actually a relatively quick process. Oh, I just deleted it. Oh no, I didn't delete it, I just transferred it. Right, focus, split, split, split. Keep putting it in there. Split, split, so that's now filled up, so I can now transfer things directly into the second thing. So everything in here, which presumably, I mean, we're assuming, but everything in here is presumably in there for a reason. And it will now be in my second container. And this we're going to install. And this we're going to install. Quick look at our ship. That's a module. That's a module. That's a module. Module. That isn't. And that isn't. Isn't always in there. And that definitely won't be in there. That's a module. Okay, we are ready to swap a ship over. Now we're getting up to where we probably want to be in a good economy now. So let's check out what economy is. That's comfortable. Developing. Affluent. Let's go there. Now my thinking is going to be just swap for any old A, and then we'll focus on getting to S quite quickly. Worried about that while we're waiting for things to come in and land. Small explorer. Not as worried about slots now because we've got storage in a freighter. We were really worried about slots when we were going to B class. C. D. Fighter. Quite like that fighter. I think we said that before when we saw it. It's kind of got that nice copper look to it. Slightly pinkish copper though. The reflection's odd. I think it's picking up the... See, there's a blocky reflection there, and I think it's just picking up the actual build area rather than the... what's there. So that's 2780. I'm tempted to go for that.
NMS says, hello.
Hi Grumpy, good to see you. Yeah, make off for a nice small ship. Negotiate price. It's taking out a lot of my money, but again, I'm not that bothered at this stage.
Kinglik451 says, hey.
Hi Kinglich, good to see you. Right, so I'm going to go back to my freighter. storage container B. Starship, 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 starship. Does anybody bother to use that tab down Y thing? It would be fine. This is another one of those small things. If you could do that and press Y, and then the next one you picked up, it kept it there, so it stayed on. You didn't have to do it down again. Then it would save time. But because it doesn't stay where it's put, it's quicker to just drag it manually. Never quite understood that. Okay, so shield module. Underwater module. Couple of A's. Got one warp hypercore, which I think I might use. Got that from a mission. As we're on 0. Right. So we've got two things we want to focus on now.
Ignition says, I thought of another one. When starting a new expedition save, in the right-hand corner, it says PvP on. That change would be another high five.
See, it doesn't. It does if you have... let's just quickly show that what I mean, because I've talked about this a couple of times, but it doesn't seem to be widely understood, so I'm just going to demonstrate it. I mean, it does and it doesn't. I'll show you what I mean. If we quit all the way out to desktop, no, actually, no, we don't need to quit right out to desktop. We can quit to mode select. If we go into play and we...
Axon Ignition says,
we go to options.
basically the game displays the PvP status on the HUD.
We go into... okay, yeah, I see what you mean. But I'm just saying that when we go into... whether that is that effort or not, when we go into network and we choose whether to enable or disable multiplayer, that is the default. So if we then, because it says no multiplayer at the moment, and I go into play, if there was, I mean, if I had the option to open a new save now, and it was an expedition, it would have multiplayer off because that's my default. Now, unfortunately, you can't set a default for multiplayer PvP only. You can only set... so I would like to see it be more clearly explained to the player that whatever's in here is their default, and also have a PvP in here, so you can choose to never have it on. Because unless it's in one of your saves switched on, whatever that says will always be off. Now, I get what you mean. When you go into the expedition itself, when you go to click on there, it tells you what your current multiplayer status is. Or ideally, if they put PvP on the default, then it told you what your PvP status was. That would be a good idea, yes. But there is that default there that a lot of people don't seem to be fully aware of. So I thought it was quickly worth showing. Right, so we have ship, we're beginning to get some modules, but the most important thing is we need another 20, I believe, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So we need to get to 100. We need another 20 things. We've got 13 charts there. Hi, Gravnor, good to see you. land on a planet, so which planet shall I choose? That one's got a load of islands. I'm going to go for this one. And while we're here, is there anything else I'm really focused on getting? Actually, maybe I should go for somewhere where there's some salvage scrap to get a bit of cash. That is salvageable. Yeah, maybe we'll stick to there then. Yep, we'll go there. Back on our original base planet. If we're going to do that, we might as well go get the oxygen while we're there. So at least we're breaking up. We're doing two different things. We're getting some slots, and we're also occasionally getting some salvageable scrap like we did last time, just to make it a little bit less tedious. What's that? Oh, it's the scrapyard. I remember that now. Some floating debris up there, look. Oxygen.
Technology recharged.
Nothing in there. Have we got anything? Yeah, we've got activated indium we could be putting in there, haven't we? Or did I leave it all in my thing? I think I did. But it'll be in here.
Technology recharged.
Why is that not doing anything? Did I just do... What did I just recharge?
Technology recharged.
Why has my teleporter disappeared? Did I delete it somehow? Something's going wrong here. I'm going to reload here. Where's my shit? Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reload restore point. I was thinking as I landed I probably should have reloaded just to make sure everything was... Because when you arrive at your base by flying in, sometimes things don't render properly. But I don't know if I just deleted that by mistake and didn't notice.
Technology recharged.
That's worked. The thing that was confusing me, even if I did delete it by accident, was the fact that the wires were still red.
Technology recharged.
It should have been blue as soon as I charged that. See, there's some ferrite dust in there as well. This just goes to show that reloading actually solves a few issues sometimes. Right, so that's activated. So for those that don't realise, there's a difference between indium and activated indium in that it's got that little circle around it on the outside. So get all of the circled ones. Put these onto one stack again, because I don't think I'll need to do that trick for a little while. And we'll chuck this.
Technology recharged.
Right, first things first. a chart going. What else we need? Oh, just some sodium nitrate, which we don't have an awful lot of. I might need to go and get some sodium in a bit. Tell you one thing I would really love, a small thing, that I'd love the option to turn this upside down. So I'm looking in my thing, there should be a little thing here, rather than next to the up and down there should be reverse, so that I can look at the bottom of my list rather than at the top of my list, because if I know where something is, then I know where I want to start. Never did turn that one small thing into a video, but people have been adding extra one small things on my post, so I might get round to it at some point. By the time we get round to it, it'll be 100 small things. Some navigation data at least. I'm hearing movement in the house. I just want to check that.
NMS says, maybe adding a tab for freighter, main, and maybe another for storage.
Yeah, I'm all for adding tabs to that thing. I think they should have it for storage and freighter if you're in a freighter. I'm not sure if it does it when you've got the matter beam. Probably doesn't, does it? Did I already do this? Yes, I did. Is there any salvageable scrap in the nearby area? Yes, there is, but that's 645 away. Just shot it from my ship, couldn't I? Never mind. We're here now. watching me. So if a little white thing usually tells it's nearby and monitoring. It's not proving very fast. This might be easier to do that. Did I activate him? I don't think I did. Everything needs charging because I've swapped everything. Probably make a bit more sodium nitrate with some of my oxygen. Let's put that in there and put just keep running it through every time we remember. I got that slot. There's another one. 204. So time. So that one's closer. We'll probably just pop over there. Let's have a bit of movement. This was a more sentinel, well, it had a higher sentinel thing that would have easily activated. I'm surprised it's not. So that was that other one. Make sure I'm not filling up my exosuit. No, I've got plenty. Remember to shoot this one if I can. There's two here. That's handy. Also quite nice being in a fighter when I'm just flying around. It's just a little bit nippier. A bit more responsive. I get the slot? I think I did. Yes.
Technology recharged.
I really notice it in the acceleration. Right, so
Axon Ignition says, there's something very NMS about a fighter.
yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I guess it's a starter ship for a start, isn't it? Not that it has good stats, but we start off in a fighter. Still can't resist just checking. In any mode, any challenge, I'm always going to look to see what's available. The answer's nothing much.
Product received. Product received. Product received.
Something like that, like a little short pop. It just feels so much nippier. Especially considering I haven't got any modules in it that are helping it.
Foof NMS says, better a fighter than a flying soda can shuttle.
You're not a big fan of shuttles then? I'm not a big fan of shuttles either. Well, there's nothing worse than when you start an expedition and you're in a shuttle or a hauler. Worse, a hauler, I think. C-class haulers are just so cumbersome and slow. What was it? The one that was it Aquarius? We started in a hauler. I got rid of that almost immediately. It's not the only one we've started in a hauler, but that one stood out. Is it a little bit too low? there he is. What I like about shuttles, I appreciate about shuttles, like is probably a strong word. What I appreciate about shuttles is their variety. I always used to use a shuttle in my first ever save. Things were a little bit tougher back then, even in normal. I used to use a shuttle as a thing to store all of the stuff you needed to repair ships with. And I used to find crashed ships, pull my shuttle down, put all of the use all of the stuff in the shuttle to repair my ship, repair the ship, and then sell it for better money. That's the only time I've ever really used a shuttle, and that was just to shuttle stuff, literally.
Technology. Recharge.
Maybe should have sold some of this when I saw that minor settlement. What's this? That's where we just were? Or is that a new one? Just going to double check this isn't another one. It's a new one. I checked. Not seeing any. Must be closer than it looked. It wasn't, that's odd. This one looked like it must be on a little island. Oh no, it was just not rendering in the sea. I mean the land. something I think that they maybe need to do. I was watching somebody that never played No Man's Sky before the other day. I do have a bit of a weakness for watching streamers play the game for the first time. And so often people open these and they think that the metal or the slime or whatever, same with damaged machinery, is the thing they're supposed to be getting. And they don't realise that there's something else in there. And I just don't feel like the game makes it clear enough that that's what's going on. It's because of that delay we get.
Axon Ignition says, that's totally on HG. Before you had to supply it mads to pop it open, then HG changed it, so that it gives some nonsense. PLYRS assume it is what it is.
Yeah, I know, it's just daft. It was a strange change in the first place, and it was it just confuses them every time. Some do notice, but most just are oblivious until someone tells them in the comments.
NMS says, many of these new players are in a hurry and run away too quickly.
But then they're encouraged to be in a hurry because at the beginning of the game everything seems urgent. You know, you're...
Axon Ignition says, instead of giving you stuff, it should just open it. Simple.
Well, I don't mind there being rust there and we have to take it off. That's fine. But as soon as you've removed the rust, regardless of whether you hang around or click it again or whatever, it should just give you what's in it at the same time.
Technology repaired.
Oh, I haven't got enough of something. What have I not got enough of? I haven't got enough oxygen or ferrite dust. Okay, fair enough. Well, we can start doing the ferrite dust again with... Oh, I can put that in there, by the way. Get a bit of nanites. And I should have plenty of stuff to get. Oh, that's carbon, see? I'm being daft. Right, I need to start using my oxygen up for other things. So I'm going to go back and get some more oxygen by the look of it. This should stay marked. But just in case, it's a funny game sometimes.
Axon Ignition says, oof NMS, we're living in 2026, everybody's in a hurry. It's speed culture. Sometimes when I'm watching Pharaoh have Euclid I groan, speed it up boyo. Effect.
I'm not exactly slow at this game.
Foof NMS says, true, the other night, a player ran past a sentinel pillar because he didn't know what it was. I got him to return. But no royal multi.
It's a shame. Would have been nice find for them.
I hate it. Oh, I finished the game in 1 hour 24 minutes 22 seconds. Yeah bro, you're an idiot. NMS says, Axon, you're completely correct.
Technology recharged.
Put that in the starship and carry that on. Get a bit of oxygen in here. Oh, we've got some rusted metal we could be using for the ferrite dust.
Axon Ignition says, I take my time with Expedition, finish it in around 12 hours. I mean, I paid for it, why not enjoy it fully? Axon Ignition says, Thoof NMS.
Yeah, I don't usually, as you know, speed run expeditions. I'm not really into speed running.
Thoof NMS says,
I do tend to hurry on
Pharaoh taught me to
expeditions
slow down.
sometimes.
Very grateful for that.
Technology. Recharge.
This
Axon
might
Ignition
as well be
says,
in the other one.
Pharaoh have you played Nobody Said You're Slow, it's speed culture effect.
Yeah, I know you weren't technically saying that.
Excellent pacing.
I know you weren't technically saying I was slow, but I was just saying that just thinking that about my play, I was like, I wouldn't say I was particularly slow. What did I just do with it? I thought I put it in there, but I didn't.
Axon Ignition
There it
says, but now I am saying boyo, get out of that hut and go to the center.
is. I'm sure you are. Have I actually got any? But 19. So not much from here I want though. That's doing that. That's doing that. As I said right at the top, though, I think for this challenge, I'm not actually going that slow.
By the way, Grumpy is my character first name. Character last name is Slow.
Technology.
Is this going to get me stuck? No, it's not. It's going to slowly rise. Come on.
Axon Ignition says, Roth.
I always get a little bit worried when it does that slow motion takeoff. Because sometimes on some points of interest, it just stops and you're just stuck there. Especially Colossal Archives. So where were we? We have to do... I've got enough of one of those for now.
Technology. Repaired. Technology. Repaired.
But we're going to need more. Let's just save a second. So it's the ferrite dust. It's the thing that we're doing in the thing, but we can use some of our oxygen. Actually, no, ferrite dust and oxygen doesn't work, does it? That turns it into... turns it into rusted metal. Yeah, that doesn't work. I can't remember what it is now. Is it cobalt? Does that work? Forgetting my basics. Nope. Can't remember if there is a way of speeding up, to be honest. I won't use it. I will go and get some in a minute. Oh, I can get an advanced mining laser now, can't I? Multi-tool. I think I might even have a hermetic seal in my... Never mind. Move X. And go and get those metal fingers. Where were they? Always handy. Bit of uranium. Gold isn't that isn't as useful, but it can be useful. There's not many here. Just the 3. Something I could potentially have done is bought some of these. Just a little bit more ferrite dust. So we can pop back. We haven't got it. We've got a little bit with us, but that's probably, what's that, 18 worth? Guess we could mine some. Guess we could mine some from our ship. I can't see any around me at the moment. See anything here. A little bit of high ground somewhere. Can't see much there either. Got in this system. while I'm here, I'm going to go and sell some of these parts that are clogging up my spaceship. So let's go to current system. I don't know how much of that I've got. I'll have a check in a second. Don't need that. I suppose I could have given the hard frame engine to the guild. Don't need that. Back to my base. Right, so we're in a good juncture to pause, I guess. Just jumping in and out of my ship to make a save. Maybe I should just go and get that last. I guess the best juncture to pause would be once we've got this marked thing, so I don't forget we've got one marked. So 0. Okay, I've got none at all. I know it's probably because I'm fully charged, isn't it? So let's quickly get this and then we'll go into the discussion.
Axon Ignition says, by the way, did you change your mouse polling rate?
I did. It
Has been very stable so far.
doesn't seem to be making an awful lot of difference, but it might have made a slight difference on my stats. I've done 267 frames rendered, and I've dropped 18 of them, which is pretty good, I suppose. And most of those are when I'm not in the game. Just save, but then I've done that, so I need to get it. Save again.
Axon Ignition says, 751 dropped out of 250k for me.
So that's going to be your end, isn't it? Quit to mode select. Yes. So let me just pull up that thing again. There we go. Cosmos. How surprised were we that we did not see a an emoji over the weekend? I must admit, I did kind of have an inkling it might drop this weekend, but it obviously didn't. I double checked this morning that there wasn't a sale on for at Steam. I'll just double check again while we're looking, just in case it's changed.
Very surprised and quite suspicious now at the change of tactics by HG.
I don't think there is a change of tactics. We'll go over that in a second. No Man's Sky. Yeah, £50. It's interesting that GOG, which does have a sale, and I believe that they have sales quite differently timed to everybody else, so I wouldn't really pay much attention to that. But GOG has a sale £23.99. Oh, so that's dollars, sorry. That's not even...
Says, I'm not sweating over it. When it comes, it comes.
So GOG is a lot cheaper than Steam. Now, whether that's because they're just passing on the percentage that Steam take, I'm not sure. I'd need to do this on the .co.uk if there is such a thing. Nope, there isn't. Hang on, no, I didn't put that in right.
Foof NMS says, yes, GOG does their own schedule.
But they also seem to do their own pricing, which I find interesting. Let me see if I can actually pull up a British price. Store, does that change there? Is it on the bottom of the screen somewhere? Oh, here we are. GBP. That's better. Right, I know you can't see this, but so current price of in UK pounds is £15.99, which is fair enough. It's on a sale, but it's £39.99 at full price, whereas on Steam it's £49.99 at full price. So, you know, that's a significant difference. 50 quid down to 40 quid. Is that 20% off? And that's before the discount of 60%. So £15.99 is a very good price. I'm almost tempted to buy it again and have 2 copies on my PC. I don't know whether I would actually make use of it, but it might be interesting to start again with no ability to use things like Quicksilver and stuff, and just have a brand new game without deleting all of my files to do it. So anyway, yeah, if you look back at the past, some of the anniversary updates have had this happen before, where they've dropped details about things. I mean, I know it's not being mentioned as one of them, but I'm pretty sure Origins even did it. And I'm just going to double check that. Origins dropped the cover details on the 18th of September, and it released on the 23rd of September. So they actually told us it was next week on the 18th. And then 5 days later, they dropped the update. they actually were also at the same time as they dropped the covers. They dropped the emoji. They dropped the emoji. They put 3 emojis out. They put the gib out. They put the gib out with Origins is coming next week and the covers, telling us that it was Origins and making us know what the orange was. And then a few days later, it dropped. No, they put 3 emojis out and then it dropped. So yeah, that to me. Oh, actually, let me have a look at that. Maybe the covers. Let me have a look at that tweet. We'll bring up the browser this time because we can actually look for this. So, if I do a search.
Alphas195 says, I'm so glad for regional pricing in Steam.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if GOG does regional pricing. It probably doesn't.
NMS says, I run NMS accounts in Steam and GOG.
And do you find it has a benefit? I'm not sure if I'd use it much, but it does make me wonder if I would. If there would be reasons to do it. Why is that not working? I'm doing the search in the wrong place. I want to search under here. Ah! What am I doing? Right, so this is every time that Sean has used the orange symbol. So we have to go back beyond those. So here. Yeah, he gave us the name just like he has today. I mean this week.
Get a second copy on a different account on the same PC. There's a high possibility that your expedition rewards may transfer over to the new account as well.
I don't think they would be in the same place though. Anyway, on the 18th of September, Sean dropped, look at all of these updates, and also mentioned the name of the expedition, Origins. So it's quite similar to the way he's done it here. I know that it's not listed. Other people say, oh, he's done this before, and they mention a few of the different expeditions and updates where he did give extra information or tease it. But Origins is often not mentioned. But I like to use Origins as a benchmark because it was one of the very big updates. And I think we're following this pattern because this wasn't released. Let me just double check the release date. Oh, I can't check it there. I have to check the release log on the... Actually, I can probably just check it here. Yeah, so Origins was released on the 23rd, as I was saying earlier, 23rd. So from the 18th to the 23rd, we knew the name. Now, it's not as long. We knew the name of this one last weekend now, wasn't it? Or last Monday. So a week ago. But yeah, it's not unprecedented. Hi, Gary, good to see you.
Expedition rewards didn't apply from Steam to GOG. I didn't share my Steam save files to GOG.
Yeah,
I
don't think it would change.
420X.
Yeah, I don't think it would transfer. Yeah, now there have been other examples. I can't remember which ones they were, but they were mostly kind of big anniversary updates where we got teasers and we also didn't get the update for a while. And the one that a lot of people suggest say that we might not see it until next month. You might not see it until September. Um, is Ignition still around? You were saying if you are still around and not popped out for lunch, you were saying that you had seen AI suggests that the industry is saying next month. I just wonder if it gave you any sources, any places on the internet where the industry are saying that. Because if, say, for instance, the places like PC Gamer that had an interview with him, or Eurogamer, was saying next month
Axon Ignition says,
with some website.
industry sources were some website.
But what website? What actually? It's just some old website. Maybe I should. I don't really like asking AI, but maybe I should see if it gives me any sources.
Axon Ignition says, could have been Sir Steve-O's website for all I know.
Right, I'm just asking.
Axon Ignition says, Google Gemini, I asked any news on the NMS Cosmos update and that's when it said what it said.
Yeah, the AI on Google. I can't remember what they call it. What did Google call it? Is it Gemini? That suggests that there are no recent interviews and anniversary announcements from Hello Games. There are none that suggest September. I mean, usually at the very least, Gemini is good at finding, if that is the right one, is good at finding sources for things, if you ask it specifically. Yeah, I mean, I guess I did say that this wouldn't be a very long discussion, but I'm only partly surprised. I did expect it this weekend, but when it didn't come, then it didn't surprise me massively because I don't know for sure whether we would see it relatively quickly. There was no reason to suggest that it would come this week, if you see what I mean. There was. We've still got plenty of time this month, for instance. So yeah, I was a bit nonplussed by it not turning up, but right. So I am going to go back into the game. I think gives me a mental break, even if it's a very short chat.
Surprising.
It's definitely surprising, but it was surprising and unsurprising at the same time.
Axon Ignition says, and it was suspicious the way it was announced. It's a departure from all the years of emojis.
It's since we've had emojis, it is unusual. Yeah, it's not completely. Again, I don't think it's completely unprecedented. But I've just got into the wrong save. Quick to mode select. I got nothing with Claude AI. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get much from AI anyway because they only really regurgitate what we tell it. And things like this.
Axon Ignition says, I think they're setting a precedent for paid update in LNF, move away from emojis.
I don't know about that. I feel like the whole interview about how emojis were almost happened by accident just kind of highlighted that they work. I feel like Light No Fire might not use exactly the same method of marketing and communication, but I think it will use something similar at the very least. I think they quite like minimal information. It's become a pattern for them that they do the absolute minimum. Real high ground here either. How much money did that net me? So I got 15 million again, so that's not bad. Not quite sure how much S-Class will cost me. It would be nice to skip straight through into S-Class in this stream. I think I'll continue the pattern of grabbing one of these, looking for some salvage. What are we on? 90? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So we just need 10 more of those.
Alphas195 says, hard disagree on the paid updates for LNF. That's just not how Sean operates.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think he might have been joking though. I wasn't going to bite. You've bitten now. Oh, look at that. 2 ships landed right next to each other. Oh, that's my ship he's standing behind. Oi.
Units received.
Oh, that's not my ship. There must be another one here.
Axon Ignition says,
Yeah, there he is.
but obviously, can't say for sure either way. Axon Ignition says, a lot has changed in 10 years in the industry.
Technology recharged.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if they changed the way they did the model for their next game. I don't think we can assume that they wouldn't have paid updates. I think we'll know very quickly though, because they would need to set the precedent early.
I agree, Alphas. He set an industry precedent. Alphas195 says, it would be a horrible move, especially after coming out publicly saying he doesn't care about how much money NMS makes and that updates will always be free.
Would it though? It's not the same game. He could still be making NMS updates. Are we going to say they can never make money with any game they make other than when they first bring it out?
Alphas195 says. Potato potato.
Well, we'll have to make a poll in a minute. I'll find out what everybody thinks. So, I mean, the fact is, before I make a poll, and because we need the facts really. I think there are two pertinent facts that would depend on how they release Light No Fire, and whether there's ever any paid content. There are three. Three is the number of the pertinent facts. There might be more. One that just came to mind is the whole idea of fragmentation of the user base, which he mentions in his discussion, and I think is possibly more pertinent than about whether or not they care about making money in No Man's Sky. I do feel like they don't like the idea of having to manage multiple versions of the game and having different people on different versions of the game. I think that makes it much more difficult for a smaller company like them to manage the updates. And that's possibly the main reason. But the other thing I would look at is whether or not they're actually making a lot of money with the game. And that's going to depend on how well it launches. Whether people like it. And the third reason is the money. If you look at their finances, they desperately do need to release a new game in the medium term, because they're not making as much money from No Man's Sky as they were, and there are not many avenues. Perhaps they could release it on mobile, on the newer phones. But apart from that, they've run out of new platforms, I think. So with all that in mind, let's quickly make a poll, see what people think. Plus, start a poll. We'll keep it very simple. Could HG have paid DLC for Light No Fire? Yes or no? And I'm not going to put I don't know, just put a yes or no.
Foof NMS says. They very well could charge, we can only hope they don't.
Warning. Threat detected.
Well, I was expecting it to be almost 100%. It doesn't look like it is going to be 100%. How many people have voted so far? Does it say on the thing? It doesn't really show me. Ah, here we go. 50-50 after 4 votes. I'll leave it running just to give other people a chance. We'll I do like this planet. Interesting. I think it's an early planet though, so it might be artificially calmed.
Technology repaired. Technology repaired.
Getting a little bit more towards the yes. I guess one of the other considerations for whether they would charge or could charge for DLC or not is how many platforms will they actually release Light No Fire on? Will it mostly be just like PC and next generation hardware? Or will it be... will they try and release it for some of the lesser stuff? I suspect they won't release it for some of the less capable hardware. At least not to start with. I suspect they won't do it because it just causes problems for them in the long run. That would limit their market, at least to start with. You know what I should do? I should try and get the Atlas Pass. Do I still have those other charts? Yes, I do. Operations Center. Manufacturing facility, that's what we want.
Technology recharge.
See if we can get this question right and actually try and get that Atlas Pass. Anybody's wondering why I just don't go and buy it for nanites, it's against the rules of this challenge. I need a better scatter blaster. Right. I didn't read the beginning, hang on. Read the beginning because it does give us a clue. I approach the terminal, but something deep within the complex is malfunctioning. Surfaces feel hot to the touch. Hidden machinery clanks and whirs and alert sounds. I think there's a couple of these as well that they can. But I'll go for that. And menu recipe. Atlas Pass. Just need a bit more copper, which you could probably make. Copper. How much do I actually need? 200. more. I have some more. I don't want to use up absolutely all of my... I might need to get... Oh, I've got plenty of chromatic. Don't have to worry about that. We'll jump out. Little strategic drops onto the ground always help. Just help you fly backwards for a bit so you can shoot things. Right, so protection at the moment, so I need to be a bit careful. Oh, I have to. Oh, I shouldn't have broken that. I should have sold that, but never mind. It's not that important. That's fine. I just don't have the. I should probably put that in. Have a bit of protection. Those at the moment, nope. It's right there, might as well get it. Oxygen, that'll do. Whoa! Flying like this in the high atmosphere is a bit weird for a fight. completely. Oh, it's got my armour. Gotta be a bit careful here.
Technology recharged.
You know what? I don't want this fight now.
Hostile ships defeated.
Right, prepare my ship. Great. Being shot while you're on the ground by a ship is one of the most scary things in permadeath.
Technology recharged.
You just watch your shield just get obliterated just in one hit.
Technology repaired.
So let's I don't actually. I can just go straight. Let's quit to mode select so I don't get shot again. We'll have a look at the poll. So end poll. So end of the poll, 6 votes. So not exactly representative of the No Man's Sky community, but it's not bad. And we've got and we've got yes, they could have paid DLC, 67%, and no, 33%. And yeah, I mean, I think my default answer would be they could. I don't think they will, but I think they could. And I did ask could. I think they'd have to be careful as to what they did so as not to spoil any goodwill. But I think they built up an awful lot of goodwill. I think they would also want to avoid fragmentation of the player base. So they wouldn't want people to be on major different games. But you could imagine something a bit like
Could isn't an option.
it
Yes.
says, could HG have paid DLC for Light No Fire? They could. Yes or no? Yes, they could. Yes is an option for the could question. So, you see what I mean? I didn't say will. No, man. Hello Games. Alphas will tell you words are important. good for me. See that? That is a clue. I've just gone past it, but Atlas tried to make worlds in which he was not invisible at the same time as... I think Atlas was trying to make himself manifest within the reality, and that's what the Void Mother is. It's a failed attempt to make himself in reality. It's just a theory. There's nothing that definitively proves it. I always like to look for potential hidden lore, stuff that we're not being told. I do feel like we shouldn't be able to access that terminal until we've shot all three of those, and therefore potentially started a fight. Second Ashes. That's an ominous name for a ship.
Technology recharged.
Oh, finally got a chance to use my Atlas pass if I actually have made one, which I haven't yet. I might... no, not quite enough yet, I don't think. 128 plus... actually, I do have just enough. And then I've got just enough copper to start making some more. So I can make that. I can chuck that back. It's not going to let me chuck it in there.
Technology recharged.
Get this. Oh. And I haven't got the carbon, which I'd normally make with the oxygen. Because that's doing that at the moment, we'll get some here. The reason I really wanted the Atlas pass is because I need to start building up some antimatter and potentially other useful things like that. Otherwise we're not going to get to the centre in a hurry. in the starship, isn't it? There we are. I find it far harder to tell when I'm exiting the atmosphere in order to pulse in the night time. Dense carbon. Actually, I've probably got enough to just make a bit of carbon, so how many slots do I need now? Just the 3. So we've got 3 of those. Haven't got quite enough of that. Got a bit of oxygen though. Three of those. That first. Have we been here yet? No.
Axel Ignition says, I'm back after dinner.
Welcome back, Ignition. Did you vote in the poll? I can't remember if you were there beforehand. The poll's now over, but
The thing is, it depends entirely on their server costs for LNF. If it's recurring and huge, then paid DLC, but if it's like NMS, then no paid DLC. Of
Good
course
point.
I voted yes.
Good point that the server costs will make a difference. It is notable. I was saying about a month or two ago that server costs could go up because of AI. And when I actually looked into it a little bit more deeply, and also had a long chat with ChatGPT, which was mainly to run a few theories past it, and it actually did give me some decent answers. So I came to the conclusion that because they use Microsoft Azure, that it wouldn't necessarily cost them an awful lot more. Since then, in the last week or two, I've been hearing some theories that Microsoft Azure and Amazon's services, etc., are all going up hugely in the next few months. So I wouldn't be surprised if data center reliability will become a major factor for profitability of Light No Fire. But what if they actually spent some capital before to actually build out some infrastructure for it themselves? Maybe they've got their own area in a data center.
Axon Ignition says, gaming on our calculators by 2028.
Yep. But if they have put some capex down and actually thought ahead, which is difficult to do in recent years, because it surprised a lot of people just how much things changed. But if they have thought ahead and actually got a bit of infrastructure going and moved some of their reliance on the infrastructure in-house, it could make a big difference as to whether they need to. So it's just 2 more. Have I got enough? Now, possibly need just a little tiny bit more.
Axon Ignition says, yeah Pharaoh, we get it. You're leasing out your 4090 and will be streaming only on the 4th Monday of every month.
Yeah, they could crowdfund our every time we log on to Light No Fire. If we have any spare capacity, then we run the game for them. I think it might be a bit slow though.
Axon Ignition says, Pharaoh hoes got make that juicy data center money.
Absolutely. I don't think I will be though, making any juicy data center money. I don't like these pirates being around like this. They are a little bit dangerous, as we saw earlier. At least they're flying in that direction. So if we go this way, yeah, they're gone.
Axon Ignition says, 1 year from now, we see Pharaoh dressed in big gold chains with that dollar symbol. It is cute, yeah.
It's not my style. still think the only way I'll make that kind of money is if I convince my mum to stream her stuff about
says, Thug.
cryptocurrency. She's obsessed with cryptocurrency, and I said she should just become a streamer, like Crypto Gran, and I would manage her finances for her. Best thing about it would be I wouldn't have to actually agree with any of it.
LOL Alphas 195.
Life support power low. Technology repaired.
This is the 2 I've got to get.
Technology repaired.
So just the one more. And how much sight? 74, that should do us.
Axel Ignition says, Crypto Granny says RSI.
It's funny how these crypto people always say the same things, though, isn't it? It's interesting how that just stopped as soon as it went to that lesser than sign. It cut out everything else. Even Cleo's not prepared to say it.
Axel Ignition says, they only use technical analysis all the time.
Absolutely. It's all completely above board.
Axel Ignition says, very nice.
Ah, interesting. We are learning things about Cleo.
Graph North says, ha. Good catch Ignition.
Technology repaired.
Axel
10,
Ignition
20,
says,
30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Graph North says,
It's not completely whispering because it's still saying the name, but so I still look up to see what people are saying.
Axel Ignition says, did you read my comment?
did read your comment, yes. I was responding to it. I just wasn't able to hear it.
Technology recharged.
There's more copper there. So I can make...
Axon Ignition says, got a question, expedition with the update or not?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's possible that this will be an update without an expedition, and then an expedition will drop sometime after, depending on how big the expedition is. Correct me if I'm wrong, we've only had 3 expeditions so far this year, so we are probably due a 4th one before the Reduxes. So, but it doesn't necessarily come out straight away. So I suspect not immediately, but it could do, because it depends if they're trying to tell us a story.
Axon Ignition says, they usually love showcasing the new stuff via an expedition.
They do. So it depends what kind of new stuff we get.
Axon Ignition says, oh, I hope they finish up the story.
Alright, we need to find an S-class now. That's going to be trickier. Oh, actually, we're not quite there yet. We haven't got all the modules yet, have we? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many do we need again? Is it 10? 10, yeah.
Graph North says,
Well, it depends. If I've said many times, I'm not convinced they didn't finish the story already, but they might make it a bit more explicit. I think. One hardcore frame. We'll redeem. There's nothing to redeem here, really. You know what? I'm just going to donate all the stuff. I know that could have given me some X's, but not some X's, some Sentinel modules, but never mind. So we can upgrade these to A. That one's already an A. They're B's. So what is it? It's cold and heat. We got this, yes.
Axon Ignition says, another question. How would you feel, full universe wipe? In context of your anomaly base gets removed.
I mean, it doesn't bother me if the anomaly base gets removed at this stage, because it's been there for ages. I've always said that those of us that know how the game works well will usually vote on the side of a reboot would be great and interesting and something new about the game that we could all get our teeth into.
Albus 195 says,
But I don't think that it would be good for the game, because I feel like
Product received. Product received.
Graph Nort
I
says,
feel like a lot of lesser players. I feel like a lot of less experienced players would have difficulties. I can't remember if we actually had a specific rule against dismantling, but I feel like we should be able to dismantle when we're replacing.
Axon Ignition says, I have a feeling that we're not getting a univ wipe for the exact reason you mentioned. It would materially change the game.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alphas195 says, lesser players, was that a Freudian slip, Pharaoh?
Yes, they're all lesser players. It wasn't what I was trying to say at all, no. Why did they take the stats out of here? They used to have stats on the far right hand side in the original version of the game. Why did they get rid of them? Never understood.
Axon Ignition says, nah, we know what you were saying.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Let's go to comfortable, developing, prosperous. We'll go
Axon
there.
Ignition says, lesser in the context of TME spent in the game.
Yeah.
I hit exactly 2,100 hours in NMS this Annie.
I mean, that's quite a lot of hours. Just one game.
Product received. Product received. Product received. Product received. Product received.
That's 1, 2. Not that one. And heat.
Axon Ignition says, playing it since August 23. All in perma, voluntarily restarting every 80 or so hours. Finally got a 125 final save.
1, 2, 3. We'll get rid of that one. So 1, 2,
Axon Ignition says, hey Gary,
3,
it's not sad if you've been
4,
having fun.
5,
And I've
6,
seen you in onsetters.
7,
You've been having
8,
fun.
9, 10. That's enough, isn't it? Just double check. Yeah, 10 A-class modules. We can get an AS now. No, it's definitely not sad. It just means that you focus very much on one game as one of your favourite games. As have I. It's nice to have a hobby or two. Right, so low chance of getting an S-class turn up at a station, I feel. So let's go down to a...
Gary420X says, yeah, no stress game. Axel Ignition says, time for an exotic hunt. Gary420X says, I don't play Perma LOL. Alphas195 says, Gary crazy hours.
Shall we see if we get a freighter? We haven't done any warping. So let's, if we jump, we could grab some slots while we're there just for the fun of it, I guess. If we'll see if we can get an exotic like this. We won't be able to do reload because I feel like that would be cheating. Anybody spot an exotic? If they do, let me know by with a shout. Not seeing one yet. I don't think we've got the right number of ships here, have we? Tended to be 8, didn't it?
Graph North says, only the high-priced exotics have 4 SC slots visible. Lower-priced exotics may not have some tech slots visible.
Might as well finish this fight off. Usually pretty easy because they don't often go after you. They're more interested in their target. Always slightly worried when I shoot the shield whether I've messed up my chance of getting the...
Hello, Mr. Bull.
Hi, Mr. Brout. Playing a kind of challenge version of the game at the moment, which we made up specifically for this stream. Rules are available if you do. What did I say it was? Someone remind me. Was it just /rules or /r? here somewhere. I don't feel like I've got any firepower in this ship.
Grafnord says,
Exclamation rule. That's it, sorry. Yeah, so if you're interested in the rules, you can click on there. Be warned, they are a couple of pages long.
Grafnord says, rules.
Is it not coming up? It worked the other day. Why is it not coming up? Unless you're just seeing it yourself, and I'm not seeing it.
Grafnord says, I'm not seeing them though.
I don't like that sound. That suggests I might have messed up this battle.
Hostile ships defeated.
Now, personally, I think whenever you get that invitation, it should work, and that it's a bug if it doesn't. But it does seem to be very fussy. Oh, it looks like it's worked. This is significantly better. I'm not going to worry about the class. It's worse anyway. Give me my reward.
Active Ignition says, class.
It's not working either, is it? I'll have to check my thing and see what's happened. Just have a very quick look. Can't see where it is. It's not a custom GIF command. Commands. That's not the section, even though you'd have thought it would be. Nope. I don't like doing this for too long in the stream. It's just dead air, so I will give up if I don't see it quickly. Nope, not seeing it. Not sure why it's not working. It was working fine in the other stream. Right, so we didn't see an exotic that way because we got 5 or 6 defenders, and I think we established it was much more reliable with 8. Seeing one there. Maybe we should say you have to get an exotic. That'd be fun when you get to S class. Gravnort would approve, because he always does anyway. Okay, can someone do me a favour? Go flick all the way back to when we were when we found that S-class ship.
North says, what did I miss? Alphas195 says, exotics find Graph Naught, not the other way around.
I was saying that maybe an adaptation of the rules, Gravnort, would be that we had to get an S-class. We had, when we got the S-class ship, it had to be an exotic. You could even make that worse. When we get an S-class multi-tool, it has to be an alien, but that would take forever. Are we definitely in a... prosperous, yes.
Axon Ignition says, yo Mr. Brought.
So for those that have joined us, I will very quickly cover what rules we're following, because the rules thing didn't work. So essentially we have to go from we have to go through the classes. The main thing that slows us down is we have to have certain things to qualify for the next class. So first of all, we have to qualify for B class, obviously, and to qualify for B class we have to have 60 slots in our exosuit.
Oh. Child's play if that was a rule. My way of finding them is to check every space station for a first wave. By the 50th warp I'll have found at least one first wave exotic.
You might have. That's not technically true, is it? Anyway, so we have to get 60 slots in our cargo exosuit, and we have to have 6 C-class modules in our technology in our exosuit in order to qualify for getting a B-class multi-tool or a B-class ship. We're only allowed to put C-class modules in the C-class multi-tool. We're only allowed to put B-class in the B-class multi-tool ship, etc. But we can have mixtures in our exosuit, our freighter, I think, and our exocraft. And then it goes up. So you have, first of all, you have to get the ship and your multi-tool up to the next level, and then you can expand further. We've got to A class and we're trying to get to S at the moment.
Axon Ignition says, Graph, that's a faster method than reload / saving at a trading post. How long does it take you?
Just go to a trading post, can't I?
Graph North says, it is true. I do this in every save I play. It seems to be a 2 to 3% chance for a first wave.
You reckon? Yeah, but even if it was a 2 to 3% chance, you wouldn't be guaranteed to get one in 50. So it must be better than a 2 to 3% chance to get a first wave, I would say.
Stabilizing.
Oh, we're only allowed to use this to get recipes. I don't really need any of those. I wouldn't mind having the solar mirror recipe. should put this in. I can replace.
Axon Ignition says. Graph evens the odds, only goes to system whose names begin with the letter G. Graph North says. In the 4th run of this challenge I found 4 first waves in the first 30 walks. That was very unusual.
Yeah, but I just feel like if you've done it in every save and you've always managed to get one within 50, that suggests it could be a higher percentage than 2%.
Graph North says. I did say 2 to 3.
Yeah, you did. There's no way of knowing exactly what the percentage is because it's not going to be something in the. It's not going to be something in the files. It's going to be based on. I guess it would be based on any one area having an exotic in the spawn. So maybe it would be. I don't know.
Heck yeah, it's 3.956%.
Thank you, Ignition. That's really helpful. Now we have an answer, and we have to short the dollar apparently.
Gary420X says. Is that pie?
I don't think there's any reason to do any baking.
Let's just say that it's very doable.
Yeah, I might, if I have no luck finding an S-class here, because I haven't said you have to get an exotic, and I don't really think that's necessary. If I have no luck getting an S-class here, then maybe I will give it a try.
Axon Ignition says. Where's our resident chef, Mr. Alphas Rocky of Chefsville?
Weather warning, incoming storm.
Why is nothing landing here? Let's do a reload, shall we?
Graph North says. No, it's something you have to do from the very start. It's too late to start now. S-Class Explorer is your best bet. Or exotic if you wait long enough.
S-Class Explorer is definitely the best bet.
195 says. Sitting in a shelter refining chromatic metal. Axon Ignition says. No talking about real life Alphas 195. Axon Ignition says. LOL.
Toxic protection falling.
You know what I haven't done? I haven't actually moved all my stuff yet. So first of all, we need to make sure we've got space outside. Sell all of our bits off.
Received.
Axon Ignition says. Do the bump and grind, reload and rewind.
Received.
Is this the new No Man's Sky song?
Received.
Is this the way that Hello Games are going to avoid DLC for Light No Fire?
Alphas195 says, I found a great planet with Diplos and honey creatures. Aaron didn't have the blueprint for creature pellets yet FML.
You wonder why I'm bothering with this. I just don't trust the system, because there have been some odd problems with trying to put stuff across when you're buying a ship, so I'm not going to trust it.
Axon Ignition says, once bitten forever shy.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been bitten by it, but I know other people have. That's going to be there. That isn't going to... Oh, I've just... It's too far away for the teleporter. I should have just landed first before I did anything else. I did land first. I just moved it here deliberately, didn't I? Yeah, that's everything. That another solar making it. B A C. Ah, that could be why we didn't get anything landing. There looks like there's another one over there, look. Let's go and have a look over there. Actually, no, let's sell the other bits first. And that. And that. Let's go and have a look over there. This is where we get attacked by pirates and die, isn't it? Leave it there for now. See, but just my luck that the only S's I find are shuttles. That's mine. That's a B. And that is C. So I'll get that copper. Left my beacon on the other one, didn't I think? Yes. was hoping that might be the S. You know, it might be better for me to go to a system where I'm more likely to find. Yeah, I think I might do that. Let's use the law of averages for trying to get a explorer. Averages, you know what I mean. Let's weight the odds a bit in our favour for an explorer. Go to the Korvax system.
Proxy protection falling.
We can spot one before I go back to. Oh, I haven't got my thingy in, have I? Hang on. Economy. These are spawn points for ships. I'm just going to have a quick look. You never know, we could have had an exotic. Right, what was I doing? I was going galaxy map. See, somebody said on one of Captain Steve's videos and in the commentary, they said, I'm a leaker and I predict, I know that there will be an update to the galaxy map. It's like, no, is that what you reckon? It's like what half of us have been suggesting might be happening. It's like, oh, update to the galaxy map. You'd have to have insider information to know this. Considering that's what we were guessing immediately we saw the name.
Axon Ignition says, I was just thinking this might the last few times we see this galactic map, like the old space stations. Poignant. Graph Nord says, it was probably one of Ignition's YouTube burner accounts that made that comment on Captain's.
Yeah, probably, you're right. He has so many burner accounts.
Axon Ignition says, Roth.
Right, so let's look through my list of high economies and see if we have a decent Korvax system. Space stations. Go from the bottom. Korvax system, comfortable.
Hey, if the leaker is Big Dadite, it's true.
That's true.
Confirmed.
Big Daddy T. Yeah, you're right. If it was him, yeah, definitely true. Scientific prosperous. This should do us. Not that the scientific bit makes any difference, but it's Corvax. Let's see what comes in first.
Axon Ignition says, Big Dadite, the most NMS player, he's retired now. Axon Ignition says, famous.
They also said that we'd be able to claim space stations. I think they might have said there would be an update to freighters. Like, well, we've also been guessing update to freighters, and claiming space stations is the most common thing people guess, even though I don't think that will ever happen. I think a leaker needs to have some more info than that to convince me.
Axon Ignition says, that's not Big Daddy T, that's our man Bertie Bomtech.
Right, let's go down to a planet.
Axon Ignition says, whatever it is, I have a feeling it's gonna be good.
As I've said before, if they've been saving up stuff, if they've over the last couple of years been thinking, oh, we'll save that good thing for the update.
Graph Nord says, Cosmos equals cosmic battle between the guilds and the new Cosmetics Guild. Just read that in the Cosmopolitan. Axon Ignition says, and whatever day it lands, PH you better be streaming.
I will try to be. What was I saying? I was saying something before.
Alphas195 says, jackpot alien B-class mount in my starter system space station.
Cool. Yeah, I think I saw an alien. But it was a low class alien. I think it was a C.
Graph Nord says, Alphas195 that is a good find.
The question is, are you just going to get loads and loads of nanites? And
Alphas195 says, the restart was a good thing after all.
And just update it, upgrade it.
Alphas195 says, I'm just gonna stick around in the starter system till I can upgrade to the B class.
B.
Alphas195 says, also isn't upgrading the mount not allowed as per the rules.
I don't remember. That's something I keep trying to remember myself about my own rules. Is I can't remember if you can upgrade or not. Did I specifically say you couldn't?
Alphas195 says, you have to trade it if I remember. Axon Ignition says. It's not allowed. You must have the requisite exosuit slots to unlock B class.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not allowed to upgrade once you've got the requisite slots, does it? Oh, I missed him. Just remembered I could scan him while he was flying around. Oh, I like the look of that ship. Always like a needle. I'm not going to go for the needle, but...
Oh. Good point. You would have to trade for that alien. Axon Ignition says. Easier finding a B, A, S-class multi than 125 Canaanites.
Silver chrome. Not sure if I like the green nose, but other than that, very nice ship.
Alphas195 says. The primary focus of these rules that we can only ever own a single starship and a single multi, and we can only swap to the next class C to B to A to S using the exchange button as a trade-in.
It's true. That's why I would need to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. But you're using the... Well, what was the purpose of these ruling as a... Oh, there's an S. There we go. Make sure I've got enough money. Please have enough money. Shouldn't be too much. Yep, we're fine. Because it's not got a huge number of slots. Okay, we've got the S-Class ship. We just need the S-Class multi-tool, which we know there was one. Could somebody have a quick look back and see where it was again, just to remind us? Oh, I've got to get rid of that. Supposed to move that and sell it. Yeah, don't look back in the stream, look back in the chat, by the way. There for now. Put that next to it so remember to sell that too. And nothing else here. Alright, let's go and get a multi-tool, then we can make our way.
195 says.
Cheerio, Alphas. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us and chatting.
S-mount at Rizogleb.
Rizogleb. I like the look of that planet there. What is it though?
Alphas195 says. Great stream as usual, Pharaoh. Axon Ignition says.
Thanks.
I remember the system was discovered by Donkey Brains. Axon Ignition says. See you later, Alphas195. Alphas195 says. By Graph Ignition everyone else.
Right, so
Says. Sire Alphas195.
we should check this system just in case. B. So I guess at this stage it doesn't really matter much about what type of multi-tool we end up with. So again, Rizogleb. There it is. start getting some decent hyperdrive modules though. I might just check to see what else is in the cabinet, just out of interest. How many planets we got? We got 5. Save here. So we'll go here first. Didn't give me anything. I waited. Weird. Right. Might as well grab the
Falling.
thing if I can see it. There it is.
Radiation protection. Falling.
So let's see if we can get something decent in this cabinet. It'd be also interesting to see if, because we saw that this had 2 different multi-tools in the the 2 the same but with different classes, whether it does support the pool theory. They're different now with different tools, so that would be better because it would give me more slots, so I know where. It looks like at least, unless that's a slot, no it isn't. At least 2 of them are on the 4th row by the look of it. Is this the same multi-tool? No, it isn't. So it does support the pool theory after all. I've always been sceptical of the pool theory, that it reaches across because it hasn't got a different model. So the next one is this one. There it is. How are we doing for time? 3 hours 23. I was going to stick to the normal 3 hour slot, but I'm going to get this multi-tool before we finish, I think. plants while we're here.
Received.
Why is it doing that every single time? Let's log out. Log out. Reload. Tempted recently to use a glitched called cabinet, multi-tool cabinet in my ship, in my freighter. Glitch. It should be able to, because it is a discrete part that is used in settlements. It would be handy for multi-tool hunting to have 3 or 4, 4 ideally, different cabinets. So you can just go across from one system to another and see what's in each cabinet. What we're doing, I'm going to here. This landing there. Is this the third planet? Yeah, I think. modules in while I'm doing this. That's at least a large pistol, I presume. That's a rifle. I never can tell these smaller ones whether they're large pistols or small rifles. I just don't recognise the stocks. There that I really want. Win there, so I want to go there. So, am I right that the rifle was the first planet that we went to? The one with the most slots, or was it the second planet? I think it was the first, wasn't it?
Grant Lord says, yes, the big rifle.
So. Come on, 2 chances to be something a bit more exciting. I like these red flower planets. I found one with a whole massive field of them once. I couldn't resist making a Wizard of Oz reference about it on Reddit.
Radiation protection falling.
Right, just the 2 chances. It's all a bit vanity really, because I don't really need a multi-tool anymore, because now we're just going to be focusing on getting to the centre. It'd be nice to have an alien. I guess the other way you could do it would be to get a because you wouldn't have to do anything other than swap your ship. It would take days to actually do it, though. I can't remember if I disallowed use of stuff from them. Did I disallow void eggs, for instance, in any other way? Right, so that's also... also a rifle. I liked that rifle a bit more to look at, but I'm not that bothered about looks, unless it turns out to be something really cool.
Graph Nord says, do living ships have an exchange button though?
I think they do.
Just a claim button.
I think they have an exchange button. I'm not 100% sure though. Especially the mission one. I don't think I've ever done it on a stream, so probably need to look at another person's stream to see. I know Zane did it on a stream. We've got a pirate countdown and we're probably going to be caught out in the open.
That's what I thought about interceptors. Assumptions are due.
I am not going to get caught out in the open. Very little protection, so I'm going to dive for it before the... I think it was a single just ordinary fugitive. He probably wasn't going to attack me, but you never know. That last time when I landed and all of a sudden got shot on land was too close for comfort, so I'm not going to risk it. That was just an ordinary fugitive as well. I hate to actually have my challenge killed off at this point. The fugitive's still there. Darn it. Should have reloaded. Let's just jump out, jump back in. We should be fine. Nice ambience. Right, this is the last one. If it isn't an alien, we'll go for that one in the first planet. I'm actually quite excited that they're finally getting a new merch store. Interesting to see if they bring back things like this t-shirt. slightly better quality, but actually this isn't too bad. It's just got the ordinary transfer quality. It's not quite as good as the most recent t-shirt, but I've got like is it the 8th anniversary t-shirt? And that really didn't last. Tempted to get the recipe for hypercore before we start making a journey to the centre, but that'll be a next stream if we do that. Nope. No alien. Right, let's get the first one and then we'll be done. So that was number 1. Which I believe was the one right in front of us. Bip Tony. Yes. Isn't usually the one right in front of us. The terrain manipulator default. And when I last did that,
Radiation protection warning.
didn't zoom in. So multi-tool, what have we got? We put that in here. That is giving me something, and exclamations are allowed, so oh, there's an exotic there, look. Such a lovely exotic too. I'm not going to get it because I think we're better off with what we've got. Oh, not bad slots either. Got 2 near each other. But I'm not getting it. But look at that, it's nice. I do. That's one of my. I love the finless guppies, as I call them, with the side boosters and the double thruster, and it's the long double thruster as well. My favourite design of ship. The only thing I would like instead of the gold would be the silver. Apart from that, it's perfect. find out if that's the first wave in a minute. Compare. Shove everything in here so I don't have to think about it or forget about it. I've already got one of those. I've already got one of those as well. Can we actually dismantle this? We can. Another one. Got lots of rusty stuff. Right, let's worry about that later. Find out if that's a first wave exotic, and then we'll finish up. I just realised I left it in just chatting for ages. Wasn't intentional. So Gravnot, when you reload for first waves, do you do a couple of reloads? Because I've always found that they're not 100% reliable these days. Even if it's a first wave. It's a very striking ship. This is looking very likely.
Graphnort says, I only do it once for time reasons. But 2 or 3 reloads is best for absolute certainty.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I always think the best way to feel absolutely sure is to just pop outside and have a look. So we restore there. Theoretically, it's to do with the ships spawning just outside the space station. So if they don't come down in the very first landing, I go and put my nose out, because usually they would have already spawned at that point. I've tested it with first spawns and it does seem to work. But I haven't done it for ages, so I don't know if the space station, because these things change. I know a few things sometimes change. These landing pads changed.
Graphnort says, I tried that popping outside the space station with gnome first waves and it didn't work for me.
It's always worked for me. You have to be careful that you don't overtake one on the way out. So usually I put my nose out like this and then go back in straight away.
Says, great stream, Pharaoh. Awesome seeing everyone.
I'm guessing that means you're off. But I'm off anyway in a minute. Thanks for joining me. Good to see you. Right, this isn't a first wave, so we are going to finish off here. So, thanks for joining me. So far, we have got to an S-Class multi-tool
Expedition says,
and an S-Class ship.
see you all in the next one.
So, all we need to do now is get to the centre. What I think I might do is get the... try and get a load more...
Good stream.
Thanks. Try and get a load more hyperdrive modules, obviously, and maybe go through the different systems so that we get at least a couple of those system color things, and that will maximize the distance. And then if I get the hyper fuel, hypercore, that would also help. Right, that'll be it. So I've been Pharaoh, travel well, and goodbye for now.